I used to work for the United Nations. I left my job a year ago, actually, exactly a year ago, March last year. I thought, I would buy a house maybe, learn something. So I actually hit my 10 goal because I also bought a new build. So I have 9 BRRRRs and I have one that I'm gonna build and sell, so flip. So I hit my goal of 10. I'm very happy about it. I didn't even realize that. I was telling my husband, 2 years is coming and I need number 10. He's like, you already hit 10, but I never imagined I can find a new passion, but I did at 50 years old.
So today we're talking with our very own Arina, who is on property number 9. I have the good fortune of connecting with Arina for almost 2 years, and it's amazing to have seen her start, get her first deal, and then now she's going to be looking for her 10th deal. Amazing. And during this time, she has retired from her corporate job and she's invested in a town where her son lives. So many leaps and so many different mindset shifts. And we've just had so much fun along the way. So I'm excited to talk about all of that today. So, Arina, welcome. Hello,
Thank
hello.
you. Thank you for having me.
So good. Yes, I'm so excited to have you. Let's get started. Can you start with, for anyone that doesn't know you, who you are, where you're from, what you did for a living, how you ended up thinking about real estate as your income stream?
Sure. So my name is Arina. I live in South Florida with my husband and 2 dogs. I invest in Baltimore, Maryland. I used to work for the United Nations. I don't work anymore, as Palak said. I left my job a year ago, actually, exactly a year ago, March last year. I started my real estate investing journey. I remember it was my New Year's resolution. I was like, I'm gonna finally do it. So I started by reading books, listening to podcasts, Googling everything, thinking that I can do it by myself. Uh, but I couldn't. I joined Open Spaces. And that's when my life turned upside down because when I was joining, I thought, I would buy a house maybe, learn something. But then within 6 months that year, actually, by December, I bought 3 houses, speaking about overachievers.
Yes. So within 6 months, you bought 3 properties.
Yeah, I joined
Yeah.
in June, August 15th, I bought my first, September, I bought my second, and November, I bought my third.
Wow. What's so interesting about how you've approached real estate investing is you're not just thinking about it from the perspective of, okay, let me just get a few properties and then I'm on my way. You have big goals and I love that. So can you get a little bit into
Or
what's your
so
vision? Yeah.
Yeah, before I joined, as I said, I was hoping maybe I'll buy a house. But then when I joined, when I went through mindset shift module, when I met the family, the people in the community, my goals grew immediately. So I still have actually that piece of paper that I wrote on August 31st.
Oh my
That
God.
after I bought yeah, it's next to my computer. After I bought my first house, I set my goals, you know, and my goal was to reach 30 properties in 5 years. That was my big goal. I was planning to buy one within the first 6 months, and then I was planning to buy 10 within the first 2 years. So when I still remember when I spoke to my first lender, and then I spoke to somebody who was supposed to create my LLCs, and they all asked me about my goals. And I said, well, I'm planning to have 30 properties in 5 years, and I'm planning to have 10 in maybe a year and a half or two. And they were like, smiling, like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, little investor, new
Exactly,
sweet.
exactly. They're like, when did you start? I'm like, a month ago. And they're like, oh, big goals. But
Yeah.
actually, I hit my goals. And first year, I'm looking at my piece of paper. I was planning to have one, and I had three. And then the second year, I was planning to have two, and I had six. So,
Oh my God.
so I actually hit my 10 goal because I also bought a new build. So I have 9 BRRRRs and I have one that I'm gonna build and sell. So flip, let's call it flip.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I hit my goal of 10. I'm very happy about it. I didn't
that's
even realize
amazing.
that. I was telling my husband, oh, June is coming, 2 years is coming, and I need number 10. He's like, you already hit 10, but you can
Yes.
buy more by June, of course. I'm sure I'm
Yes,
gonna hit
but you
more.
already hit number 10. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. And so much power in really setting a goal for ourselves and having a vision, because if we don't, you're just basically meandering through life and investing. But when you have a target, even if you don't, which you did, but even if you don't fully get there, you're going to come close to it. And if you don't have a target, there's no chance,
That's
right?
the
And
secret. You have to dream big. You have
yeah.
to dream big, and then you achieve. If you don't achieve everything, that's okay. But if you dream small, you achieve small. So you have
Yes.
to dream big. But also with time, my vision and my goals actually changed. Now I don't care anymore about number of doors. What I care now is about retiring and having financial freedom. So I
Yeah.
was able to retire myself so I can concentrate on this journey, on the real estate investing, and I can spend more time on that. And now I'm working on retiring my husband.
I
So
love it. It's
again,
so good.
my goal is 5 years. Let's see if I can hit it. But it's also great because before it used to be 10 years, then I moved it to 7 years. Now I'm aspiring 5 years. So
Wow. It's insane, right? Because I always compare that to getting a degree, because I went to college for 6 years. I have a bachelor's and then a master's in engineering. And at the end of the 6 years, all I had was the ability to look for a job and then work till the day I die. Because I mean, retirement was an option for the previous generations. I don't know what's going to happen when people our age or younger get to retirement age. So all we have after degree is the ability to get a job, which you have to work on for the rest of your life. Whereas you put in a good few years on a really good business strategy, now you have financial freedom that gives you flexibility. And we're building generational wealth, which none of us were doing at our day jobs. So Arina, I didn't ask you. Can we get into the portfolio size? Give us the millions. We love that.
So my total portfolio with my number 9 is a little over 2.5, I think, or is it 2.2? It's yeah, a little over 2.5. My
2.5 million. Yeah.
Yes, 2.5
Wow.
million. And the equity in that portfolio is 600,000.
It's 600,000 now. Yes. Yeah, so that's 2.5 and 600. Did you say 2.5?
Yes,
2.5 and 600K. That's about
5%,
25%.
25%, yeah.
Yeah. And so the thing that amazes me, you didn't start off with 600K. The
Mhm.
equity that you have, you were able to create it because of the skills that you acquired. And the beauty of this strategy for a lot of people who are like, if you're just joining and you have yet to figure out how this strategy is better than others, this is it. Because there are a lot of great strategies in real estate, but none of them allow you to have that margin, that buffer, that equity in your properties. 600K, that's 25% for a $2.5 million portfolio. How can anyone who's just a normal human with a day job, how can anyone come up with 600K in 18 months, 600K of savings to buy all of these properties? And that's the magic of this strategy, that it allows you to do that, right? And it allows you to take a finite amount of capital and recycle it.
I have HELOC now, so I'm recycling HELOC.
Oh, so let's talk about that. How'd you get your HELOC? Can you take everybody through the process of?
Yes, so we have a primary residence and we had a pretty good equity on primary residence. And when I realized that my money is not enough, the cash that I had, and I need more, and I wanted to to buy like several at the same time. So that's when I went and I applied for HELOC. I got a pretty hefty HELOC, so now I usually do two or three at a time. I do them in batches. I do two, three, then I finish them, then I do another two, three.
Yeah, I love that. and it's the same knowledge. So utilizing the HELOC from your primary residence, it's part of the same knowledge base that you're building, which is take the equity in an existing property, pull it out, and then redeploy it to grow your portfolio faster. So you're doing the same thing, except now you're also leveraging your primary residence and being able to do that. And so for anyone who doesn't understand this or thinks that we're taking heavy risks here, just so you know, she's maintaining 25% equity in all of her properties because we lean heavily on commercial financing, she won't get commercial financing unless she maintained that equity. So this strategy kind of forces you to play it safe, which is so amazing. So, can we talk about how you decided on this strategy and the location, Baltimore?
Yes. Strategy. So, yeah, as I said before, I joined the program. I Googled everything. I read books. I listened to podcasts. So, I made my conclusion that BRRRR is the best strategy. And I was set on doing BRRRR. And that's how I found you guys, because your program was great for BRRRRs and you did that yourself. And that's why I joined this particular program and not other programs, because I wanted to concentrate on BRRRR, because I realized how BRRRR is the best. I just didn't know how to do it properly. And then Baltimore, I decided on Baltimore. I was considering a few places. I think Baltimore was familiar. So our son lives there. We used to live in Maryland, so I know Maryland. Baltimore, I used to hate Baltimore actually. It was terrible 20 years ago when we moved to the US. We visited and I didn't want to go. I was scared to go to Baltimore. But now, when our son moved there, like 8 years ago, first time we visited, we were scared. But then we realized Baltimore is growing. Baltimore is growing. Baltimore is changing. Baltimore is much better, cleaner, now. And that's when I decided that, I want to invest in that as well. I want to, clean it up as well. I want to get these old properties. I don't know. I want to make them beautiful and I want to make Baltimore even better since our son lives there. And of course, since he lives there, I have double reason to visit now, properties and him. Decided on Baltimore at the end. Also, I think a big part of that was that I was able to find a team, while in Baltimore, I love my agent. I click with him and I work greatly with him. So I think that was another reason why I did Baltimore, because that agent, the first thing that you need to find is an agent, right? So that first thing that I found, and I was happy with him, and that helped me make my decision on the market to invest.
Got it. Okay, so team and proximity to your son. So you're already going to go there, or it gives you more reasons to go visit him, whichever way you want to look at it. And then the fact that you immediately clicked with a team member and that put things in motion. It's people are such a big part of this business. So that's amazing to hear. So when you first started looking in Baltimore, did you visit? Do you have any advice for a new investor who's thinking of out of state investing? Should they visit? And everybody does it a little bit differently. So I'd love
Exactly.
to know what's been your take.
Yeah, sorry. People are different. Some people I know invested into 50 properties and never saw them and never went there. I am different. I'm a control freak. I'm, a perfectionist, type A personality, all that. I'm a little better now after
I almost spit out my water. I was like I was drinking a sip while you were
yeah,
talking and
about myself. So yes, I went because I wanted to meet the guy personally. I could not just, talk or Zoom. I wanted to get a feeling. People are very, very big for me. Like I am big on people.
yeah.
I am a people person myself, and I do appreciate people, and people to me are very important. So I went and I met him. I found several. First, I spoke to them. I spoke, I
Mhm.
think, to 5 agents in Baltimore, and I met three of them, I think. I didn't like any other except him. So that's how I decided on him. And the good thing about him is that he also does my property management and he also does my rehab management. So
Oh,
he's one all in one, all in one. I jokingly
yeah.
call him my everything. So he, yes.
I can
So
totally see you joke about that. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
so advice to people, I can't really give advice because people are different. But if I mean, I went, now I'm considering Jacksonville. I went second time to Jacksonville again to get another feeling. I'm looking into Cleveland. I went to Cleveland. I was considering Philadelphia. I went to Philadelphia. To me, it's very important to drive the streets, get the feeling of the neighborhood,
Hmm.
the people. I feel for me it's important, so I am doing that. But as I said, I know successful investors who don't do that. So whichever works for you guys.
Yeah. So for you, it worked very well where you went and visited the location that you were considering investing. You drove around, you looked at the areas, you met some team members, and that's what helped you make the decision on the location. You didn't first decide the location based on just numbers, and then because a lot of people in the program, the way I've seen them do it is they'll decide the location, they'll get a property under contract even, and then they'll go to that location during the due diligence period, or they'll figure out the location, then they'll line up properties to see, build their team, and then go meet the team members and vet them before they buy their first deal. So there are two different ways I've seen them do it. You, on the other hand, you went and first visited the areas and then you made the decision on whether you wanted to go, because we're all different. And I know you joked and you said it's because you're a control freak, but also it depends on how much bandwidth you have. You having a grown son maybe have played an important role. Maybe when he was little, you would have done it differently and taken a plunge, right? Like, I think we all make these decisions, not just personality based on how much time we have and how much bandwidth we have. And I love that you use that time so wisely and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go visit all these areas and then make the decision. And it seems like it's given you a lot of peace and comfort in your process too.
It's also easier now because after I visited this area, I started buying in particular area that I liked. So,
Yeah.
for example, then after that, I bought my first house. I never saw it. I saw it only after I rehabbed
Oh.
it. But I already knew in which area it is. I drove those streets, so I was sure that I'm buying
Oh.
in the area that I like. After that, I had to buy my number four was in a different area. So I was doubting and doubting, but my agent actually, he was convincing me because that was a really nice area, but I didn't know it, right? So I
Hmm.
was scared without seeing it. So he drove around for like 20 minutes with his phone stuck out of the car,
Oh
and
my
telling
goodness.
me like, look at the people sitting on the street. They feel safe, they feel comfortable, look at these cafes, look at these restaurants. That's a great area, So he convinced me. I bought that house. It's an amazing area. But
Wow.
yeah, and then I bought another one in a new area for me. Again, I listened to him, I risked it. I went back afterwards, I checked it, and I love the area. So
Yeah.
now I know more and more. I'm trying to expand the areas. So now I know more areas. Every time I go to Baltimore, I drive around and I try to understand areas and to make notes.
Yes. I remember the first time I wasted a lot of time trying to invest in my own backyard. And I was trying to make every deal fit the strategy, and it didn't because the numbers just didn't work. And so a lot of investors called us like, oh, there are no deals and properties are overpriced. No, everything is priced according to what people are willing to pay for them. And I wasted so much time because I was trying to fit all these properties into a strategy that I thought was appropriate. And then we decided to branch out. And I remember I would drive around. And then when Nidhi was around, we would both drive around during kids' nap times. And I had a giant paper map and I would like mark the streets. Like if there was a lot of boarded up houses or trash on the street or people loitering on the street, I would like mark that versus, nice, really well kept homes, families. I would mark them. And that's how I kind of started getting a feel for other neighborhoods. Something you said I thought was interesting. And I think a lot of new investors could take advice from that. What sometimes, and this is why, in our program, in our standard operating procedure section, for anybody who's not familiar, if you just joined and you're like still going through the modules and everything, you'll see that there is an entire section where we just give you all the processes, anything and everything you can think of to invest in real estate, get a black belt. Every single process is listed in there. And one of them is scripts. Because I know that when you first call a lender or realtor, they don't take you seriously because you're not a legit investor yet. But in your case, I think it's so interesting that you have been able to create that kind of respect from day one. I think that's why you had such a great team from the get go, because you projected this. I am serious about real estate investing. I'm not going to waste your time. All of that. How did you do that? What was, if you go back in time and kind of think about your initial phone calls that you made to realtors, to contractors, how did you, what did you say that made them,
I
or what
think
was your philosophy? Yeah.
I think there are like different things that contributed to that. One, by the time I was calling, I went through all the modules, so I had the knowledge. I knew what I'm talking about. It was not like I just joined the program. I had no clue what is a DSCR loan, and I called the lender and I said, "Oh, there you go." So I went through all the modules before I called, so I knew what I'm talking about theoretically, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
you were very knowledgeable when you called them.
Yeah,
You
that's how
didn't
I
just
felt.
start calling.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Then
That's
I
great.
took Niti's advice. So I think
Yes.
people relationships are very important in this business. And I feel when you build a relationship, you try to nurture it and keep it and you don't grow it. And then that's how you build your team.
Yeah. Oh, I think you mentioned something that is so important, that you just kind of said it in passing, and you just said, like, if I don't like, I don't, if I don't like them, I don't work with them. And even if there was a lender whose rates were good, but he was arrogant, but then you kind of narrowed it down to integrity. And so I'd love to know, how do you develop a gut feel for somebody, for these red flags? Because I think a lot of new investors who don't have business experience, maybe you've always had a job and you've never really had to gauge people very quickly, you don't have enough practice. Can you do you have any advice for them? How do you spot these red flags?
So, for example, if I'm talking to an agent and every property that I say, "How is that property?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, that's a great property. Let's buy it." Or you send him next property, and "How about that property?" "Oh, yeah, that's a great property." Or "How is that area?" "Well, that's okay. I like how they say it's developing or it's coming up there.
Yeah.
It's coming up area. Yeah, it's great. It's coming up." I'm like, "What
Yeah.
coming up?" I went there. I was scared to get out of my car. While, for example, my agent, I would say at the very beginning when I was still, learning, he said no to 99.9 properties that I sent him. He's like, "We're not buying that. That's not a good deal. We're not buying that. That's not in a good area. We're not buying that because you will not be able to get out of the car and walk into your property." So he
Mm.
kept saying no to all the properties. At one point, I'm like, "Ozzy, do you really want to buy something with me? Like, do you need money?"
Do you want to get some business or not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they want to get some business. He's like, "I'll tell you when there is a property. Just, let's keep going." So yes, it took 2 months for us to find our first one. But until now, today I sent him 3 properties and he's like, "Nah, this one is not good because of that. This one is not good because of that. This one is too expensive." So that's what I appreciate. Same with lenders. For example, a lender who tries to, trick you into paying points. A lender who says, "Yes, I can do it in 3 weeks," and then cannot do it. I had a lender like that.
Oh, and you still made it happen.
I still made it happen. And that lender came back and said, "Okay, it didn't work. It was our second time. First time was fine. Let's do a third time." I'm like, "I'm not doing a third time with you. Sorry. No,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have and I have other lenders who told me at that point and said, "No, we cannot make it exactly in 3 weeks."
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciated that. So I went back to them. But to this one, I never went back. So, or for example, there are lenders that would tell you that, yes, I'll give you, I don't know, 2 points and this much and this much. And then you get into the deal and telling me that now I need to pay more points. Thank you, no. So that's the things that or for example, speaking about general contractors, general contractors who, I don't know, inflate the budgets only that their fees inflated, or they don't care what they buy. Like I have to argue with my guy, with my project
Your
manager.
GC. Oh, your project manager. Yeah.
I have to argue every time I want to buy nicer tiles or nicer kitchen doorknobs or something. He literally argues with me. He's like, "No, you don't need that." I'm like, "It's only $20 more." And he's like, "$20 on everything comes to 1,000. You have 9 properties, you saved $9,000. We are not buying that."
Yes.
So
And
that's what
not
I
at the
appreciate.
we're not even talking about at the expense of safety, because I know none of us would ever do
No,
anything at the
no,
expense of tenant
no,
safety. It's not about
no.
that. It's about how pretty things can
Yeah,
look.
exactly.
That's what it's about.
I'm like, but this tile is not pretty. He's like, it's good for the tenants. It's non-slip. It's good dark color because they will not feel that it's dirty. We're not buying your light blue, whatever marble tile. Okay.
Yes. Oh, so
So that,
good.
so that's what I appreciate in my team.
Yeah. It sounds like you've really created a team that looks out for you and trusts you and is not afraid to give you their feedback even when it seems like you won't agree with them. And that's great leadership.
We argue a lot, but
But
we're
in a
still,
positive way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It sounds like it's a very positive way where they're looking out for you and they're going to push back when they don't agree with you, and because they know that you appreciate that even when you disagree. So that's great leadership. And I think so. So recently I was talking to another seven-figure founder, and she said, if you want to heal like your childhood trauma, if you want to like work on yourself, instead of going to therapy, just start a business. It'll force you to deal with everything. And this was a joke, of course, not minimizing the need for therapy, of course, but like she was joking, and she's like, just start a business. It's gonna push you to your limit. It's gonna bring all your insecurities out. It's gonna force you to develop leadership skills. And the only way you can be a good leader to your team is if you have worked on your own shit. And sorry to swear, but like when she said that, I was like, you know what, that there is some truth to this. And it sounds like that's what you've created with your team. Is you're a great leader, and there's not a lot of things that get in the way of you working with them, so they're able to speak up, they're able to give you the right advice, they're able to lead you in the right direction. And that's awesome. I love that. So, were you always like this, or has it been developed over time in your previous job? I know you had a business before as well. Like, is that what trained you to become a good leader, or is it all trial by fire in the last 18 months?
No, I mean, being a leader, I think I was always good with people. I was always a good leader. I in my previous job, in my United Nations job, I was leading like a team of 75 people, you know. So yeah, I have lots of experience leading people. However, in my office job, people were completely different and expectations were completely different. I think what hit me hard was my small business. That was my first business when I went there, and people who I had to hire were completely different quality people because it was not, of course, I was not paying as much as a United Nations, I don't know, office with 3 degrees people. So it was different people, different values that they had. People who would come to my small business. I had a small tuxedo shop. People who would come to my business also were different. So that's what hit me very hard. There, I had to learn a lot. So when I got to this business, it was a little easier already. I still struggle to understand these things, but I'm much, much better now. Now I'm much more patient also because I believe I ask this from people, so I need to give them back, right? As I said, I have things that I don't like in my team, but I zip my mouth and don't tell them that because I know they are great at other things. So I make sure to show them the appreciation, to show them what I appreciate in them and what they're doing right instead of concentrating on what they're doing wrong.
This is really good because, yes, I think what you've pointed towards is something that's just a different type of business. And so, for a lot of people who are always used to having a desk job, or your work is primarily online, or you're dealing with a certain type of person where everything is very process oriented and everything is very dot the i's and cross the t's, and there's just a lot of checks and balances in place. When you start a small business, you very quickly realize that a lot of people that you may work with may not operate that way. And by the way, this is why, advice for everyone, don't try to save money by GCing your own project if you're new. That is not the place to save money. Not the right place to save money. We're small business owners. Let other people make money. Let them get employment. We're there's enough for all of us. Spread the joy. Uh, a good GC is worth his weight in gold. So I I'm so glad that you've talked about this too, is when you worked at the UN and managed 75 people, it was so different than you starting your small business and working with people there.
It's funny that my project manager, my everything guy, he said exactly same words to me. At the very beginning, I was constantly like, "Why can't they do it on time? Why rehab has to be 3 months? Why can't they move faster?"
But what a fortunate position to be in where we can actually help keep employment, help spread employment in areas where they wouldn't have had it otherwise. Like as small business owners, like none of us come from a trust fund. And for us to be able to make a social impact in a community that way, what a fortunate position to be in.
Sometimes he says that. Sometimes he's being a little rude, but I love him anyways.
Yeah. He knows you can take it. Yeah. I love that. Oh my goodness. This is not where I thought this conversation was going to go, but it's so good. Thank you for doing this. This is so fun. If you were to say that Arena today versus Arena 2 years ago, how are you different? What's Arena 2.0? How is Arena 2.0 different than you were when you started?
I think the most important thing is now I believe I can do it. I never thought that I would be able to do it. Second is I'm much more, I understand that this is a business. Before I didn't. So I treat it as a business. As you said, you don't recommend people to go paint their own walls. That's what I thought I'll do. I thought, okay, investing in real estate, I need to save money, right? So whatever things I can do, I should do, like for example, I don't know, maybe I should buy my own materials to save some dollars, because they don't look at prices or something. Or maybe I should go and paint something myself if I'm in Baltimore, or something else, maybe I should manage my own properties, right? I thought maybe I should manage because that will save me a lot of money, but actually not. So that's what I learned along the way, that first, now I believe I can do it. Second, I learned how to do it. So now I'm treating it as a business, not as
Mhm.
mom and pop. I also learned, I knew that before, but I learned to understand that people are different, even more different than I thought, and to give them grace and to, be patient, because they give me grace and they're patient with me. So I think I
Yeah.
learned that as well. What else? I learned that people can be very generous, like this community, for example. I always tell you this example. When I joined, I thought we will be competing with each other. But I learned that actually you can share everything and tell people everything, and you can still succeed and help them succeed. You kind of pay it forward. Somebody helped you when you started, and then you help somebody else who is just starting, and then those people will help somebody else. So
Yeah.
amazing community. Thank you, Palak, for creating it. But yeah, that I learned. That was something new for me, that people can just tell you. Like yesterday, I wrote to Eileen. Eileen is here. I'm considering a property in Jacksonville. I'm like, Eileen, what do you think? Is that a good pet split? She immediately came back with such good points. Like, look at that, look at that. Like she doesn't have to do that. I'm not paying her to do that. So that's how I thought about it in the very beginning, that we will not tell each other, things. But it's amazing how this community functions and we all still succeed. Great. So that was something new for me. And
Yeah. Yeah.
when I was starting, I asked her a lot of questions. There were people who knew more than me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very grateful for that. And now I'm trying to do the same with newbies. When they contact me, I always answer all the questions.
It's so good. Yes. And we talk about shifting your identity. A lot of real estate investing and success in building businesses as a business owner, it's all about how we start seeing ourselves differently. Yes, there is tactics and strategy, and we need all the answers and we need the numbers to work, and all of that is there. But when your identity shifts, and I love that you had that shift in the very beginning, because I remember you told me at BRRRRCon, which was like just a few months after you joined, and you had mentioned that I thought we would all be competing against each other, but this community is so generous, and it shifted your identity from, and we all have this scarcity mindset because that's how the corporate environment is. There's one position open and everyone is competing for that one position. And so it just puts us in that mindset. And then coming into business, you immediately had that shift. And that shift in identity of like not seeing the world as a scarce place where there is only a finite amount of resources for all of us, and just moving that over to shifting your identity to there's enough for all of us. And
Exactly.
yeah, that's
I
huge.
I remember I asked Goldie. Goldie invests in Jacksonville and she has I think nine properties there by now. And she knows much more than me about Jacksonville. She was so nice. We went together on a trip. She showed me areas. She showed me her houses, really appreciate. And then one day I was considering a house. So I sent her that house and I asked Goldie, what do you think? And she said, oh yeah, it's great. I made an offer on it. I'm like, okay. Okay, then I'm not even considering it. Move
Yeah.
on. Next house.
Yeah.
Before I would think, oh, maybe I should make an offer as well or something. Now I
Yes.
just didn't make an offer. I'm like, there will be another house. There are so
Yeah.
many houses, if not today, then tomorrow. Move on,
Yes.
you know.
And she told you that too, instead
Yeah,
of telling you, actually,
it's a bad house,
yeah,
or
somebody could have easily said that, right? But
yeah,
instead she said,
exactly.
I made an offer on it. And you're like,
Exactly.
you know what? Backing off because it's
Exactly.
yours. You,
Actually, also Goldie came up with a great idea. I love that idea. She said it would be great if people who are already like seasoned investors in different places, we could now exchange knowledge so we can diversify our markets. For example, I want to go into Jacksonville. She would be willing, to mentor me, to teach me, to help me buy a few houses. While she wants to invest in Baltimore, I could teach her and mentor her and help her buy a few houses. So we could do like exchange program. I was like, that's such a brilliant idea.
yes, it's so great. Yeah, and okay, so one thing about not having scarcity mindset and shifting your identity to having this, what a gift to go about life knowing that there is abundance. I mean, come on. What a gift that in itself. But also, the more that we invest in each other's area, it's going to bring the entire community up. Like, even if you just look at the numbers, there is truth behind it. And helping each other succeed helps the entire community grow in that location and within the program, both. So I love that. Arena, I do have one more question. Can we talk about your vision a little bit more? What do you want to do when you grow up? 10 years from now, I call you, what would you be doing?
I bet I'll still be investing in real estate because
Yes.
that's my new love of my life. I never imagined I can find a new passion, but I did at 50 years old. What do I want to do? I want to, if you're talking about personal, I want to
Yeah.
travel more. I traveled the world already, but I want to travel more. I want to spend more time with our son and his wife and hoping to have grandchildren by that time. Hoping I can retire my husband so he can spend more time with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a personal level, travel and being near people that I love, having location freedom. I want a house in Maryland where our kids live, so I can, live there whenever I want and stay here whenever I want. I want to leave my kid and my grandchildren wealth. So yes, generational wealth is very important. I am considering, we just spoke about this earlier today, I'm considering an active business. I don't know. Let's see if I can get there. I'm struggling to come up with ideas. So maybe I'm able to get another business so that I can generate more income to invest more in real estate.
Yeah.
That's it. That's pretty much it.
I love that. Yes. And you shared right before our call too that your mom's here and you're taking care of your mom right now and helping her get healthier. Can you talk a little bit about how this newfound time freedom is
That's so important,
it's
actually. My
yeah.
mom had health issues last year, the whole year. So in January, or in December, they found a tumor in her head. So in April, she had a surgery. And that's when I left my full-time job. I left my full-time job in March because I went to Moldova, where I am from, to stay with her for almost 3 months after the surgery for recovery. So I did that. Then she felt better and I left and came back to the US. And then in August, she broke her back. So I went back to Moldova for 2 months, 2.5 months, and I stayed with her again until she was able to walk and, take care of herself. So not having a job and being able to do that is amazing. Like it felt amazing. And now I was able to bring her here to try and give her better quality medical, assistance, hopefully in the US. So again, we're working on her medical insurance. We're applying for different programs. We're trying. So my time freedom helps a lot.
Yeah.
She's very happy as well, even though I still have to work a few hours here and there, but it's
Yeah.
different from me never being at home. My husband is extremely happy. I used to travel. I never was home. I had an assignment in Yemen for 4 years. My husband saw me once every 2 months. I had a,
Wow.
I had an assignment in Philippines. My husband saw me once every 3, 4 months. So
Yeah.
it's amazing. What I feel now is great. Like it's a new life for me. Even I slept in the other day. I slept until 9 a.m. I could never do that in my life. Now I just slept until 9 a.m. I woke up and I thought, it feels amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds like the very strict work ethic that is passed on to many, many, many of us. Um, you're like finally making peace with that. It's okay to sleep in.
Exactly. My sense of responsibility is like mad until now. Like I
Yeah.
feel responsible for everything, even for things that I shouldn't be feeling responsible. But yeah, finally I can allow myself to sleep. I can allow myself, I don't know, to go to gym in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
So that would be great if I can give that to my husband. That's what I'm working towards now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Oh, that would be so nice.
he
Yeah.
works like he works like mad and he's never home now. So
Yeah. That would be amazing. And now that you've said it, it's happening way sooner than you think it's going to happen.
I think about people. Can I add something about people?
Yeah.
Important thing that I also figured out because when I joined the program, right, and somebody would share their contact or share their GC or share their agent, I found out that sometimes he or she is great for me, but it will not work for you. This
Yes.
is a very important thing for newbies to remember. Even if you take a contact from someone, don't assume that it will work for you. Because
Hmm.
my guy who I am in love with, were business related, not in
Yeah.
love. But I click very well. But I know a few people who tried working with him and either he fired them or they fired him because they
Yeah.
couldn't work. And same, for example, now, as I mentioned, Jacksonville, I'm trying to work with an agent that everyone works with. Everyone works with this agent, and I just can't work with him. It's just, people are different.
Yes. And personalities have to match
Yeah,
too.
exactly, exactly. I'm still trying, so maybe it will work at the end. But for people just to remember that the fact that somebody is successful in one area with one team doesn't mean that you can totally repeat.
Yeah.
Maybe area doesn't work for you, maybe team doesn't work for you. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's really good advice too. Especially I know some of you work with your spouse in the business, and both Nidhi and I have different personalities. And I've noticed that he works better with certain people, and I work better with certain people. And so over the years, we have learned to understand that if one of us is in charge of one business or a part of the business, then that team has to be fully aligned with that person's personality. And it's really made our day to day much more joyous and peaceful because whoever that individual is leading, that team has to work really well with that person's personality. And we're both so different.
And it's so important to have a partner that supports you. Speaking about partners, if any of you guys have a partner that supports you and helps you with this business, appreciate them, tell them that because it's so important.
Oh, it's one of the biggest flex like in
Yeah.
life is having a spouse that supports your endeavors. And even if sometimes they don't agree with it, they'll still be like, fine, like, I don't like that you're doing it, but all
That's
right,
another
I
thing.
got your back.
There are
Yeah.
partners that don't like that you're doing that. There are partners that have their opinions. I'm so lucky to have my husband who trusts me in this journey.
Mm.
So, we decided he's concentrating on his job and I'm concentrating on this. So I'll tell you, I had a case when I signed the assignment agreement for a wholesaler property. I was under contract and I forgot to tell him. Like I told him 2 days later. I'm like, oh, by the way, we're buying a house. And he's like, great. Did it happen today? I'm like, no, 2 days ago. He's like,
Yeah.
He's like, I hope you told your guy in Baltimore. I'm like, oh yeah, he knew
He
immediately.
knows. He's my everything. He
Yeah,
knows.
he's my everything. But that's the trust that
That's
we
the
have, and
trust.
I'm so grateful that I have
Yeah.
him. And that's I go to him only if I have doubts. So then I ask him, like I'm having
Sounding
doubts.
board. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
ideas, bounce ideas or something. But otherwise, he just trusts me. Sometimes I'm like, well, I really feel like number nine. I didn't need number nine. And I said I'm not buying anything, but it was a really good deal. And I went to him and I said, look, and I don't have money for number nine, but it's really a good deal. He's like, well, it sounds like we decided. I'm like, okay. So,
That is so great. Yes, you have taken the role of becoming a multiplier in your family. And right now, he's the one who does the make, in our make multiply
exactly.
manage framework. You've taken the role of multiplier and he's fully trusting you're doing what you're meant to do right now. Even like with don't tell him I was praising him, but even with Nidhi, like I've made some decisions that he disagreed with, and then I went ahead with those, and they were actually terrible ideas, and he still never said you should have listened to me. He always said like, all right, you wanted to try it, you tried it. It was a horrible idea. That's okay. That we live and learn, and it's yeah, it's
Would you say it's a terrible idea if he does that?
oh yeah. I would be
Me
like,
too.
you should have listened to me.
Me too. It's same. My husband would never say that, but
Always be
I'm like,
listening to me. Don't ever
okay.
follow your gut. Only listen to what I'm just kidding. No, but I do give in to those temptations way more often than he's much more refined with how he is with me.
Lucky us.
What? Yeah, lucky us, right? Yes, and I think so. That's one of the flex that we talked about. Another big flex is I think you mentioned something about your mom right before this call. You were talking about how she thinks you're the best. I think that's another big flex that builds so much confidence. When you have a parent that thinks you are the world, like you are the shit, that like really pushes you forward like nothing else. And
I
they
think it
continue to say that.
I think it was actually my dad. When I grew up, my mom was very strict and she didn't think I'm great. But my dad was absolutely in love with me. I was his son, daughter, world. He gave me everything. He passed away, yes, but I think that's where my confidence come from my dad. But mom took around 42 years for her to realize that I'm the best. And now for the past 10 years. For the past 10 years, I don't have my dad anymore, but she kind of took that role over, and now she thinks I am great.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. You
Yeah.
know what else I wanted to say something because I saw it was important thing. I saw Eileen and I remembered Eileen taught me something at the very beginning. She said she found her GC in a bar. Was that you, Eileen?
I think that was Sophia. Was it Sophia? Did you find your GC at the bar, Eileen?
No, somebody was telling.
Sounds like me, but no, unfortunately, that's not my
That
story.
was
Somebody was telling
Sophia.
that they were
Sophia.
sitting at a bar, maybe as yeah,
Sophia
network.
struck up a conversation with the guy at the bar and they introduced them to a
Yeah,
contractor.
so another advice for newbies, always, but why I thought Eileen, because Eileen asked me about ground up build. She said I would love to hear about ground up build in chat. So I thought ground up build happened because of networking and like always talk to, First, I was shy to speak. That's another thing that changed. I was very shy to tell people that I invest in real estate and that's what I do full time because I thought that's not a job, that's not enough. And what if I'm not successful? So I was very shy about that. It actually took me a year and a half to be able to tell my friends that I am full-time real estate investor. I told them last December only. Last December, we were all together in Maryland, and I told them what I do. And they were like, wow, you didn't tell us for a year and a half. I'm like, I was shy. So I was very shy about that. But now I'm not anymore. So now I tell people. So I went to my doctor's office and I told my doctor that I'm a real estate investor. And she said, oh, my husband is an agent and we also invest by flipping. So there is this new build community where we flip. I'm like, okay, give me your husband's number. I want to go there and see what are they doing. So she gave me her husband number. I called the
So
husband. I
good.
went, I checked the new build. Now I'm doing a new build.
Yes. So it pays to tell people
It
what you
pays
do,
to tell
right?
people. Really, that was the first time when I felt like it pays to tell people. So please tell people that you are a real estate investor. It pays. And
Yes.
be proud of it, because now I'm proud of it.
That's so good. What great advice. Yes, I love that. This is so good, Arina. So glad we did this. Thank you for doing this. Fabulous. So good.
When you're ready to get serious, you can join us at theinvestoraccelerator.com.
It's like getting 1,000 episodes worth of information in 5 days, and it's everything you need to build your actionable plan to financial freedom and making work optional.